What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the next basic lesson video. This one is about combos. What makes a combo, how do you do them, how do you get the most out of it, etc, etc. We talked in the previous video about blocking and getting hit, what a natural combo means. The idea that once you hit him with something, the rest of it is guaranteed. As you can see in this situation, Dragunov blocks that third hit. That third hit is not a combo. A combo is generally defined as a sequence of hits or attacks that cannot be avoided once the first one starts. So if you hit them with any kind of a move, and there's nothing they can do about the following moves, that is a combo. Even if it's this 1-2 punch. This 1-2 punch is a combo. Once that one connects, the 2-punch cannot be blocked. Technically, this is a combo, even though it's the smallest combo in the game. So needless to say, there's a little bit more to it than that. The term natural combo applies to a sequence of strings in this case. You know, if you have 4 hits that 1, 2, 3, 4 that all connect in a row, that's a combo. But there are other ways to do it. There are different kinds of hits that will put your opponent in a situation where you get to hit them again for free, which is still a combo. It just takes on several different forms. One of the ways to do this is Hitstun. We also talked about the idea that when you get punched by something, it takes you some time to recover. This is called Hitstun, the amount of time where your opponent is reeling before they can do anything about it. Brian happens to have an attack in his back 4 where the Hitstun on this is so severe he gets to hit you for free. If you look how far back Dragunov reels from this hit, he takes a ton of stun from this. So if you look at the frame data, this Hitstun is 15 extra frames, where it says that in blue. That means Brian recovers 15 frames faster than Dragunov does. So if Brian has a move that's 15 frames or less, he's guaranteed to hit him with it. In this situation, Dragunov cannot recover in time to avoid the mock punch. It is guaranteed to hit him. There are some other cases where a move will spike your opponent directly into the ground, and they are completely unable to move for a brief moment, and you can stomp on him, kick him, whatever you want to do, like this Lars move. His sidestep 2 knocks him straight into the ground, and that stomp attack is guaranteed. They can't get out of it, they can't do anything to avoid that. They are pinned to the ground for a brief instant long enough for Lars to stomp on. There are other cases that aren't quite so severe. You can hit your opponent onto the ground, and they can try to stand up, but they're unable to do so in time. This Noctis slide attack leaves them on the ground, and you can see him stand up, but he still gets hit by the sword swing. They're recovering, but not recovering fast enough to avoid. That's still a combo. There's nothing they can do about getting hit there. A lot of times you'll see these as a result of counter hits. Certain moves when they land as a counter hit will cause like a knockover or a bounce or something, and you get tons of free follow-ups. You just have to kind of learn those character by character, get used to what your character can do, as well as what you should do to avoid them from other ones. We talked about in that previous video about getting hit. Sometimes you can get crumple stunned, but you can still escape. You can just tap forward or back and block during that stun. Whereas if you don't block, you get blown up. Another good example of that is Brian's forward 2 mock breaker punch. This move knocks you onto the ground, and you can see they just kind of lay there. The only thing you can do is hold back. And if you hold back, your character will just flip back and recover like this. If you don't do that, none of your other options work. You get stuck to the ground, and you can't roll sideways, you can't do anything right away until you're done landing on your back. And if that's the case, Brian gets to run up and hit you for free, like this. So that covers a lot of the ways that you can be incapacitated and then hit again for free, and there's nothing you can do about it. But the biggest one in Tekken is being knocked into the air. If you are up in the air, you have no defense, you can't tech, you can't roll, you can't do anything. This juggle state, as we call it, leaves you completely defenseless. Your opponent isn't always quite in the air, but the functionality is the same. Some can look like this. During that crumple stun, they can't do anything about it. They are completely vulnerable. They might not technically be airborne, but they are off their feet and they're in a juggle state. This is totally defenseless. They're done for until you stop pummeling. You can launch your opponent into the air like this, and you still get the same result. They can't do anything about it. They're getting comboed. And sometimes you can bounce your opponent off the ground like this. Again, result is the same. Defenseless, they're in combo. All of these are a functionally airborne state during which the opponent has no recourse and the combo is yours. They can't control their flight. They can't do anything to escape out of it. This is a full combo state, and they are stuck until you either drop the combo or finish it. All of the moves that produce those effects are combo starters that we call launchers. In the beginning, most of the time they would launch you into the air for your combo, so it doesn't really matter if it's a crumple stun or bounce or whatever, as the principle is the same. A launcher is a move that initiates a full combo. You should also be aware that there are several different ways to do this. The simplest way is like the ones that we just showed you with Leroy, are what we just call a natural launcher. Falcon Rom's down forward 2-3 is one of these. If the move hits you, it launches you into a combo. Nothing fancy is required on natural hit. This initiates a combo, so we call it a natural launcher. However, there are some that gain this only as a counter hit. If you look at Falcon Rom 3+4, you see all that does is just knock them down. But as a counter hit, this produces a juggle state only on counter hit. That crumple stun only results when this is a counter hit. We just call that a counter hit launcher. There are lots of moves that gain that property on counter hit that you wouldn't even think about to look at. Sometimes it's just a regular, ordinary move, but when you'll see it land as a counter hit, you get the bounce, the juggle, the crumple, whatever it is, and you get a whole combo from it. Falcon Rom has a unique way to start a combo from his parry. He's down 3+4, you can see on normal hit, just knocks the opponent over. Even as a counter hit, result is the same thing. However, if this move parries a punch, you can now see that he gets a combo from that. That crumpled state only results when this move successfully parries a punch. And there are a couple things like that in Tekken that have some weird properties to it. But for the most part, there's either going to be natural launcher or counter hit launchers. Those that only get you the launch when the opening attack is a counter hit. So once your opponent is in one of these juggle states, the object is to do as much damage to them as you can before it ends. Obviously there's a limit to how long combos can be. It's not going to let you just do an entire health bar's worth of damage in one launcher. So the main way that the game limits your combo length is a system that we often call a juggle counter. The idea that every time you hit an airborne opponent, they go further and further away. It counts the number of hits in your combo, and the higher the number of hits, the further away it pushes it. Normally you can see every time I punch him with a jab, he goes the exact same distance away from me. But look what happens when he's in the air. I just jab, jab, jab. And you can see eventually I can't reach him anymore. That 6th jab doesn't reach because he goes further and further away with each hit. To see that in action, look at a combo like this. You can see how that last knee doesn't reach him anymore. It's the same knee I hit him with already twice in the combo, but 7 hits in, he's too far away. So that's the primary system the game has to limit your combos. Eventually you just can't hit them anymore. There's nothing you can do to reach them once they go flying so far away from you. In Tekken 5, this was pretty much all there was to limit your combo. You had to hit them until they couldn't be reached anymore. Tekken 6 introduced a bounce state mechanic to combos. And basically what this did is certain moves that would push them downward towards the ground would spike them into the ground and leave them vulnerable. They would land on their back with their feet in the air and you could just hit them again. So what this did is let you combo as long as you could before they got too far away, then spike them into the ground and hit them again. Tekken 7 has replaced that with what they call the screw attack. See how Lei kind of torpedo spins as he flies away from it. This is basically the same thing as the bounce state. They land with their feet in the air. The only difference is they're about 5-10 feet away from you. But you can still run up and hit them like you normally would. They're just on the ground long enough for you to follow up. So this has the same result. You juggle them as long as you can, and then you hit them with the screw attack, which will make sure you have enough time to hit him again. It kind of cheats the last hit of your juggle counter. So an actual combo might look like this. There's that screw attack. And you can see now I have time to just run up there and hit him with that knee that was missing previously. So that's your primary way to extend combos in Tekken 7 is the screw attack. You can do the screw attack right away in your combo and then do the rest of the juggle after that point. It depends on what your character's moves are. Some characters are just designed with different damage and different properties or what have you. But in general, the basic combo path would look like 5 or 6 hits in the air, and then your screw attack, and then your big ender. You want to hit him with the biggest thing you can at the end, because the juggle counter is still very, very high. So even though they're tailspinned into the ground, that next hit is going to send them flying because the juggle counter is so high. So you're only going to get like one more good shot at the end of your combo. So what you want to look for then is ways to get them to the wall. If you know that last hit is going to launch them 30 or 40 feet, you want to be aware of where the walls are and try to juggle them towards that. Because once they get their back to the wall, they can't go flying 40 feet anymore. There's nowhere to go. So you have an opportunity to hit them 3, maybe 4 more times before they eventually fall on the ground. So the juggle counter is the primary way the game limits the length of your combos, but what it also does is limit the damage your combos can do. If you look at all the hits that I did, that would normally add up to, 140 damage or something under normal circumstances. Let's take a look at the jab situation again. My regular jab does 7 damage, right? But watch what happens, watch the display on the left when I hit him with the jab in the air. Now that same jab only does 4 damage. And then watch the situation where I hit him with multiple jabs. 4 damage, 3 damage, and 2 damage. You can see the percentage next to that keeps going lower and lower with each hit. So just like the juggle counter, it increases the pushback with each hit. It also decreases the damage done by each hit. So when you get to the end of a combo that's, 10 hits long, your follow-up hits are only going to do 2 or 3 more damage. It does add up, so obviously you want to do the longest, biggest combo you can, but towards the end, you're only going to get tiny little additions of damage. So you want to choose moves that do the most damage, so when it does get divided by 30%, you still have more damage left over. Now there's one interesting quirk in Tekken that kind of takes advantage of this damage scaling, and it happens at the wall. So as we said, when you get hit into the wall, no matter how high your juggle counter is, you're not going anywhere, right? They can't fly 50 feet away from you, but eventually they're going to hit the ground. You generally get 3 hits, maybe 4, and if you're Kazu, you can get like 5 because he's such a combo machine. But they're still going to fall to the ground eventually, no matter what you do. Just like the juggle counter works, there's a limit to this too. So again, look at the damage scaling. You can see that number goes down. It's not quite a round number, but each successive hit in my combo is reducing the damage dealt little by little. The last hit's only doing 6 damage. But check out if I do a slightly different combo. You can see now that last hit all of a sudden is 60% scaling instead of 30-something. That move did double the damage as the previous one. So the reason that happens is if you watch very closely, you can see when Lei's rear end touches the ground is the exact same moment when I hit him with the double fists. So what the game is seeing is when he touches the ground, the damage scaling algorithm says, okay, he's not airborne anymore. He hits the ground, let's reset the scaling. We don't need to scale damage if he's not in the air getting juggled. So it resets to the maximum damage, which, by the way, for a grounded opponent is 60%. An opponent laying on the ground is only taking 60% damage no matter what anyway. So 60 is the max damage for a grounded opponent. So during this wall combo, the game says, okay, he touched the ground, let's reset the damage scaling up to 60% as if everything was back to normal, but it's not back to normal, he's still in the combo. You can see that the game registers this as a combo hit. It believes that's a true combo, there's nothing he can do, he's guaranteed to get hit by that, it just so happens it's at that perfect moment where the game decides to reset the damage scale. I know that sounds like a lot to take in, but all you really need to take from that is the idea that your character probably has a wall combo that's of the form of a 1-2 punch and a shoulder. And it's designed so that that shoulder hits the opponent at the same time as the ground, and you get one hit completely unscaled. That's all you really need to learn about. You don't need to know the why, but so now you know the why. But the important thing is you want to find a combo that works that way whenever possible. On top of some extra properties that it might have, you can see how this attack also causes them to flip upside down. That's also really good too for the Yoki afterward. It's harder for them to tech that correctly. So not only is that getting me unscaled damage, I also have good wake-up options. So you just got to learn that for your character, figure out what strings are going to do that for you. So as you can see, getting your combo all the way to the wall has huge advantages. Because even though you're 10 hits in and your last couple of juggles are only doing 2 or 3 damage, if I juggle them all the way and they hit the wall, and then I do this combo, my last hit's going to do 12 damage, which is a huge jump. That's why you see some like major combos break into the hundreds fairly routinely, is because of the calculation that works like that. So getting to the wall has a really big advantage because you get that extra damage. But there also happens to be walls, balcony ledges, and floors that will break when you kick the opponent through them, and you get to continue comboing them on the other side of that too. So there's even more beyond just getting to the wall. But before we take a look at how balcony breaks work, let's go over the different ways you can get to the wall by using the mechanics in different order as you see fit, depending on your spacing and position around the field. First off, this combo is perfectly spaced in time to go right to the wall, don't have to change anything. Juggle, screw attack, wall combo. All kind of just fall in line, you don't have to change anything. This is going to be rare that you'll find the wall distance to be exactly perfect. Very often you have to make adjustments. Take a look at this combo where Lei does the screw attack almost right away in the combo and then carries them to the wall afterward and hits them when they get there. This is what's going to happen more often than not. You have to judge the distance to get the screw attack in the right position and then carry them the rest of the way to the wall. In this combo, you see Lei gets the opponent all the way to the wall without using his screw attack. He's able to juggle him just right and then gets to the wall and he completes his wall combo. In this situation, if the wall could then break, he still has his screw attack available. So let's take a look at some of those situations involving the wall/balcony break. Wall, balcony, and floor all pretty much follow the same rules. The structure breaks, and you get to hit the opponent right afterwards. Pretty much the same circumstances all the time. There are very few things that change it up. Sometimes floor breaks can flip the opponent over, but for the most part, balcony break and wall break follows the exact same thing. Once you land or once you stand in front of them, you can continue your combo afterward. So let's take a look at a combo now that carries all the way to the wall and then breaks it. But at this point, you have a lot of hits in the combo, and that juggle counter is very high. All you're going to get at the end is one big strike before they go flying away from you. Now this combo starts at the wall and breaks the wall right away so that his screw attack is still available. Once they get down to the bottom, then Lei can do the combo he normally does, including the screw attack, and then try to carry to the next wall. Not every character can pull off a feat like that, but you can see how close they get with just a few hits by using that juggle counter in just the right way. And then you cash it in later in the combo by just booting them 60 feet. It's possible. A lot of characters can do things like this with a little bit of practice and timing. The real trick is learning how to control this in a match. Exactly what your distance to the wall is, what you hit them with, how much distance and space you have available to you, as well as can I hit the wall exactly right, etc., etc. Not all these things are as easy as they seem when you get into an actual match. There's sideways walls, there's you and your opponent hitting the wall at the exact same time. A lot of things can go wrong. But a lot of this just comes with experience. You want to sit and practice, combos and variations, but you really have to get into some matches and get used to the feeling of, okay, I hit him with a launcher, how far can I stretch this, or should I end it right away? You really do have to learn more and more as you play, and that's one of those things that comes with it. So the last topic to really cover is the new Rage Drive system in Tekken 7. Rage Drives are essentially just an EX version of an existing move, if you're familiar with the term. A lot of times it'll be a move that the character already has, but it flashes blue and gains extra properties. Now a lot of these are good for extending combos in various different ways. If you happen to be a character who has a spike rage drive like Brian, what he does is he'll juggle an opponent, he can do a screw attack, carry him to the wall or whatever it is, and he does his rage drive, and that rage drive spikes you into the ground hard, and you can't do anything long enough for Brian to hit you again with the biggest move that he could think of. You get other rage drives like Lily, who when you do the entire combo and the screw attack, she uses her rage drive and it creates like another screw attack basically and carries them the rest of the way to the wall. So hers produces even more wall carry that, again, if used correctly and timed right, you could go coast to coast in some combos. It all varies a little bit, depends on the character. Some have good ones for doing this and some don't. There's a lot of variations. You just have to know what your character does. And a character like Lei Wulong has 5 different rage drives, I think. Some of them blast you towards the wall, some of them spike you to the ground, and some of them launch you in the air. So it really does come down to exactly what you need at that point in time. A lot of these rage drives will also start a combo if you hit them with that first. So keep that in mind. You can use Brian's as another example. If you hit him with that blue elbow, it'll launch him into the air, and you can get a combo from that. But if you launch him with something else, and you save that blue elbow to later, then you can use that to spike him in the ground and hit him one last time for good. But that pretty much covers most of the theory behind combos in this game. From things like simple combos on the ground where one hit guarantees another hit, like Brian's back 4 into the Mach Punch, up to certain grounded states where you get to stomp on them for free or hit them because they still can't quite get away from you. And then all that system culminates into the opponent in the air. If you can hit them in the air, they can't do anything about it. So there's several ways to use that airborne opponent to kick them into the ground, hit them towards the wall, whatever it might be, to maximize your damage. So now, after 7 iterations of Tekken games, we have a lot of mechanics that do that. You have the screw attack to get some extra distance. You can hit him to the wall. Sometimes that wall breaks, and you can hit him again afterward. And now we have rage drives, which can just tack on even more damage at the end, and again, depending on your character. So if you start thinking about, I talked about Brian a lot, he's a really good example of this. If Brian can hit you with, a counter hit back 1, the regular version of that elbow, bounce you into the air, do a whole juggle into the screw attack, kick you over to the wall, punch you through that wall until it breaks, and then do the blue elbow and spike you into the ground and hit you again, he's getting 120 damage without even breaking a sweat. Once you have all those pieces together, you can really hurt opponents bad. But you only get so many opportunities to do this. You're not going to be able to do that every time. Combos are big in this game. Combos really dish out a lot of damage, but you can't spend your whole day fishing for them. You have to kind of just go with the flow, and when you have the opportunity, you seize it. That's what this is about. Seizing the opportunity to get the damage you can with what you have available at that point in time. So I hope this enlightens you a little bit about the combo system. And there are timestamps in the description below so you can jump back to a certain section. There's a lot to take in all at once. So pay attention, study your homework, and if you have any questions or details about anything, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. And please click that subscribe button and the notification bell next to it so you get alerts when more of these videos start to pop up. And hopefully I will see you in some of those. Later.